So what is a cybersecurity risk assessment? A cybersecurity risk assessment is not the same as a vulnerability assessment. Cybersecurity risk assessment doesn't look for outdated applications, outdated operating systems, outdated firmware like a vulnerability assessment does, right? A cybersecurity risk assessment is us going into your network and identifying cybersecurity risks. Not to be confused with vulnerabilities, right? There's two different things. I hear a lot of people get them confused. So a cybersecurity risk assessment is us going into your network and looking for overprivileged accounts. We're looking for network misconfigurations, maybe on your routers or switches or firewalls, IPS, IDS systems, things like that. We're also looking for access controls on your file shares. Make sure your IT team isn't able to access the sales invoices, or the marketing team isn't able to access the legal documents, right? And creating that segmentation in your file shares and identifying which accounts are able to access everything and kind of outlining those as far as access control on your file shares, right? And that can be SharePoint, that can be file share, maybe you host on your own server. We're also able to investigate your Active Directory, both in the cloud and on-prem. So if you have Azure Active Directory or just Active Directory on-prem, we're able to investigate both and look through all of the objects, through all of your OUs or your organizational units, to identify any stale or outdated identities, servers, endpoints, things that maybe our old employee left your company and his account wasn't properly decommissioned or removed from Active Directory. An attacker is able to go in and spoof those identities, servers, devices, whatever stale objects are in Active Directory, and be able to access your network and essentially conduct attacks once on the network. We're able to go in and check your Active Directory, your Azure Active Directory for those stale objects, to flag them and have them removed to prevent those from being used by an attacker later down the road. We're also able to provide monetary values for the company based on which sensitive information we identify on your network. So say we find personally identifiable information or personal health information or credit card information that's sitting unencrypted on your network. We're able to provide a monetary value of what that data could be worth if an attacker is able to go in and exfiltrate and post it on the internet for sale, which could put your company in a lot of trouble for, PCI DSS compliance or HIPAA compliance, depending on your industry. So we're able to actually go in, identify, find that information for you, flag it so that you can go ahead and encrypt it, put it in an access controlled file share, or do the proper security functions to secure that data to ensure you're compliant with those regulations and to ensure that an attacker isn't able to exfiltrate it in plain text, right? Which would be really bad. So those are just some of the key features that our cybersecurity risk assessment does. Again, not to be confused with a vulnerability assessment solution. So that's the difference between the two. And we highly recommend conducting a cybersecurity risk assessment at least once a year. But here at Orobi, we do provide it on a weekly basis. So we conduct weekly scans, we pull weekly reports, and work with your team to identify these risks and assist you in remediating them as well.